Hi everyone, Lori Whitlock here. Today is December 1st and I've got an adorable little project for you. It's a little red Christmas house and I've got all the pieces cut out here in front of me and I wanted to show you how to put it together. So we're going to start with the main house, and then this is the little house that hooks on the front with the front door on it. So we'll do that one second, and this is the roof piece and the snow piece for that. This is the bottom piece for that. So I'm going to move those out of the way for a minute. All the rest of these pieces go to the large piece. This is going to cover the entire bottom when we're done, so I'm just going to go ahead and set that out of the way for a minute as well. So let's go ahead and install our vellum pieces behind our windows. So we have two windows here, and there's some vellum pieces. This little piece goes with the little front door, so we'll put that to the side for a minute. And I'll just go ahead and flip this over. We have these two vellum pieces that are going to go behind the windows, and you could use any color that you'd like. I chose to use a transparent vellum just because I think that'll look really pretty. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little adhesive right around the edge of that, and I got that a little bit too thick. Sorry about that. Let's spread a little through the middle here from what I've already put out. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and put that on and let that dry. We'll do the same thing here on the other window. I'm trying not to get quite as much glue this time. And we'll go ahead and put that on this window here. Okay, we'll let those dry for just a minute. I'm going to set that aside while that's drying. And I'm going to go ahead and put the vellum piece on the back side of the front door here. There's a little half moon there. And here's our little vellum piece to cover that. I'll go ahead and glue that on. That way those can be drying. While those two large pieces are drying, and I'm going to go ahead and set something heavy on those while they're drying. And we're going to go ahead and fold all the other pieces. Just go ahead, this is the bottom of the larger box or the larger house piece, and we're just going to fold all those score marks in one direction. That's going to close off the bottom of our house, and this is our roof. We'll go ahead and fold that in half, and this is the snow for the top of that roof. So we'll go ahead and glue that on. So I'm just going to flip that snow over and add a little adhesive to that. And I want to make sure that that folds when the snow is on. So I kind of want to glue that in a folded position. So we'll go ahead and let that dry. And then this is our chimney. I'm going to use a bone folder for this on these angles. Getting a nice crease on those will really make it look sharp when it's done. Then there's our glue tab for that. So we'll go ahead and add a little adhesive there. Fold that over and let that glue dry. And we'll go ahead and I'm going to roll that the other direction as well, make sure it's getting a good seal. We'll let that dry for a minute. There's our window casings. And on this small portion of the house, we also have a little roof and a little piece of snow as well. I'm going to flip that over because I got just a little bit of glue right there. Actually, I think it's okay. This side has a little bit of texture to it, so I'm going to leave it on this side. So I'm going to put a little adhesive on this, and again, I do want to glue this in a folded position because it needs to fold for the roof line. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half and just put our glue piece on there. Our snow piece that has glue on it on there. And we'll go ahead and let that dry. This is the bottom of our little door portion of the house, the front portion. So we'll just go ahead and fold that in all one direction. We have a front door here on the house, and that is made up of a door color, whatever you choose for the door color, behind the door casing. And I just want to make sure I'm using the front of that paper. And I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the back right around the opening for the door. And the vellum is going to show through that top moon, so we don't want to get our color up into that area. So go ahead and layer those and put that aside to dry. Then we have our little wreath, and I'm just going to take a little bit of adhesive and glue our wreath down. I'll just put our bow right there. Okay, so we have all our little pieces done. Now we just have to assemble the main house pieces. So here's our little front door section. I'm just going to go ahead and fold on all the score marks. And I'm going to use my bone folder on this as well because I want nice, crisp lines. And I'm using a nice 100-pound weight paper. It's very heavy duty. I'll try and find a link to some on Amazon and send you, or put a link on this description of this video. So you can find some nice heavy duty 100-pound cardstock as well. Okay, so now that we have all those folded, we have our glue tab here on the side. I'm just going to go ahead and lay everything flat. Put some glue right here on this one straight little glue tab, and that will form our house base. Let's go ahead and let that dry. Once that's dry, you'll be able to stand it up into a house shape. And we have our little roof pieces. Those are going to overlap just a little bit, and we'll just glue those together. That'll make it nice and sturdy to adhere the roof. So I'm going to put the back pieces underneath so there's no chance of seeing those from the front. Just overlap those a little bit. Put some adhesive there and let that dry. You might need to reach your hand up inside of there to hold that while it's gluing. Just make sure you keep everything nice and parallel. Don't overlap them too much. Just be very patient as you're holding this and letting it dry so that it won't give you any troubles. Once those roof pieces have dried, we'll go ahead and set that aside and go ahead and do the same thing with the larger house portion. So we'll go ahead and fold on all those score marks and use our bone folder to get a nice crisp fold lines. Okay, then once we have all those folded in, let's see, here's one more. We'll just go ahead and put a little glue on that tab and fold our house in half. And we'll let that dry. While that's drying, we could go ahead and put our window casings on. Just put a little adhesive on those crossbars and right around the edge. Stay very close to the window. You could also put the adhesive on the back of the trim piece. Look how cute that is. That finishes off that window so nicely. Let's flip it over and do the other side while we're here. Okay, so that part of the house is done. So now we're just going to, let's go back to our first little piece here, and we'll go ahead and put our door on. I'm just going to put the adhesive on the back of the door piece here. And you're going to line up that half moon right at the top, and it should line up right against the bottom of the house as well. Just get that right in place and let that dry. Okay, and then we're going to glue the little front piece onto the main house here in just a minute, but let's go ahead and put the bottom piece in on our house. So we're going to need to slip that into place and glue it in. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue right on the inside of my house, right around the bottom edge. Oh, my door is not sticking down all the way. Just make sure that all sticks down good. Okay, and now we're just going to slip this little bottom piece in, being careful not to slide it in too far. Just get it right flush with the bottom of the house, and we're going to let that dry. Okay, so we'll set that aside for a minute, and we'll do the same thing here on our main house. Got our little bottom piece. This one will be a little easier because we can reach in from the top if we need to. You could slide this in through the top if you'd like, or you can go ahead and just push it in from the bottom, either way. You might find it easier to go from the top, I don't know. But that worked really well. Just go ahead and use the table as kind of a guide as to where that needs to set. And if you want to reach in there to make sure that that glue is making good contact, you can do that with this piece. Okay, so now we're ready to just put our roof on. I'm going to go ahead and put a little adhesive here on these corners where they overlap, and that'll just help make our roof a little more stable. I'm using this Scotch tacky glue, and I will put a link to that in the description of this video, as well as the little glue bottle that I'm using. They make paper crafting with small pieces like this really easy. Okay, so before we put our roof on, I'm going to go ahead and put our little front door piece on. So we're just going to do that by putting some adhesive back here and gluing the two pieces together. This little house is quite strong because we've made it out of thick paper, and because they're separate boxes, everything is nice and sturdy. So you'll be able to save this from year to year. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and put our little roof on our front piece here. Let's put some adhesive on that. Actually, I'm going to put the adhesive on the roof. That's a smarter idea. And then we'll just go ahead and put that on and let it dry. Need to hold that in place for just a minute. And then we have our larger roof that goes on just like this. Go ahead and put that in place and just center it front and back so that the roof overhangs about the same. And while we're here, I'll go ahead and put the little wreath in place. And that's going to go right here. And now, on the bottom, You wouldn't have to cover that, but if you want it to be completely finished off, I've given you a piece to just cover the bottom so you don't see the seam where they connect. I think it just finishes it off. It also makes the house a little more sturdy. Let's go ahead and put that on and let that dry. And then we have our little chimney that goes on top of our house. Look how cute that is. I love it. So I'm just going to use a little bit of glue on those edges. In fact, I think I forgot to put some glue tabs on this for you, and I will add those to the file before I upload it. But you could just put a little glue on that and it will stay in place. Just like that. How fun is that? How darling. So we have this darling little red Christmas house. Again, it's available at the Silhouette Design Store and in my shop at shop.lorywhitlock.com. I hope you have a great day, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.